everybody. So, time to start a new kit. This little thing here. As you can see, this is a 1/4 ton truck, quote, Willys, unquote. It's a 1/35 scale model kit from MrCraft hobby kits. And it's quite a big box, as you can see. So this will be my second ever MrCraft kit, and the first one was not very impressive. I'm not going to say unkind things about it, but it was not a good kit. In fact, it's around here somewhere. I haven't finished it, that's how it is. 1/72 scale, FW 190, and maybe it's because it was a small scale, but it was just not a good kit. Anyway, hopefully this will be something slightly better. I think we've had a quick look at this. Let's take a quick look at the plastic inside, and yeah. A big box for not very many parts, but I'm assuming this is a standard size box for the for this company. Anyway, so I think we've had a good look at this kit already. So I'm just gonna get into it and start sticking some plastic together. Let's go. Okay, so I'm looking at the manual here. So we're starting on part 1, and it's tricky. Hopefully I'll be able to work through it. So I'm not going to film everything I do. I'm just going to give a quick summary of what I'm going to do and what I've done maybe, and we'll go from there. So yeah. So yeah. Anyway, step 1. Let's have a look at and see how this goes together. The arrows showing you what goes where look a bit vague. So yeah, yeah, vague I think is the best way to put it. Looks like the wheels are designed to rotate, so we may do that, we may not. Don't know what that is. So that's what. So past 2, 48 and 56, big arrow. Yeah, yeah. This may be slightly tricky. Might be fun too. Anyway, let's go. So I'll put the blue paper down, just in case I decide to film the parts. I'll make it easier for you to see, and easier for me too, surprisingly enough. Anyway. Chassis. Okay, so here we are. We've got this far into stage 1. Let's get it right way around. Still not. I think that's the front. The front of it, or is it not? I don't know. I'm guessing that this is the front because of the way it shows it in the book, in the instructions. Anyway. So far we've put the the front and rear axles on with leaf springs. The operation meant putting the springs onto the axles and then putting the springs onto the chassis. So it was a bit tricky getting the leaf springs onto the axle, because I was a bit concerned that they may not fit properly, because the alignment isn't perfect. So if you don't get it lined up in exactly the right place on the axle, they may not fit in the points on there. So I put one of the leaf springs onto the axle, glued that onto there, and then put the other leaf spring onto the chassis, and then put the axle onto it. So anyway, that was fairly straightforward. Not as straightforward as I'd like it to be, but we got there. Let's continue. Lots of wheels. Let's get down to this. All different numbers. want to be careful. So on 33 and 37, 38. So all these are 37. So that's okay. So 30. Where is 33? This 30. I'm guessing this is 33. Oh god, there's 33 number there. 34, so I assume that. Anyway, let's guess that 33. 37. I'll cut all the 37s out. That's all identical. (38A), so 38 and 38A, 38. Okay then, so we've nearly completed stage 1, and all 4 wheels are on, and it's got together pretty well. The wheels look straight, they do rotate, it moves. So that's pretty good. So there's still the shock absorbers to add, and that may be pretty tricky because they are. Oh dear! Can you see what I see? I've got the wheels on the wrong axles. I don't think I can take them off. So first mistake, I've put these. See, in the drawing they all look the same and they have the same number, but this wheel, as you can see, the center hub, so I've got a pointer bit. On this one, the center hub is flat, so I've got the flat ones on one side and the ones with the pointer bit on the other side. I think it should be the ones with the pointer bit will be in the front axle, and the flat ones will be on the rear axle. Now the instructions aren't clear on that. In fact, the drawings show, where are we? Show exactly the same wheel on either axle. So same number as well, front and rear. Anyway, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just continue on to complete the stage. Hi there, editing Mark here. Just to make some corrections to what I said before, the numbers for the tyres and wheels in the manual are correct. You can see here 34 going to that wheel, 36 here, and this little symbol here, as demonstrated up here in the top left hand corner, is telling you that you're doing this on both sides of the side. It's a symmetric assembly, symmetrical. So what I was confused by was the number 33 and 86. I couldn't understand what the 86 was for, and 33 is right next to the number, the 34 number. It's actually the colour of the paint, paint colour 33, 86, which you have to go back into the manual to see what those numbers actually mean. In this case, black and green. You know, so when I assembled these things together, I went by the, I got confused with the numbers. As you can see, there's a whole plethora of things going on here, and lots of different numbers, and it does get a bit confusing. It certainly did for me anyway, which is why I got the parts wrong. So technically the manual is correct, technically correct, which is of course the best kind of correct, but it is quite confusing the way the manual is laid out. So yeah, if MrCraft can take a look at this, maybe they can rejig this manual to make it a bit less confusing, should I say. Also, this image here, which is about the shock absorber, because it doesn't tell you that. You're looking at this number here, so the arrow pointing to that section there is a bit vague in my opinion, as indeed a lot of the things were, which I think I mentioned in the video already. So, but yeah, that's just a quick correction on my part. I made a mistake, not the manual, so bear that in mind if you're building this kit for yourself. Well, there it is. That's step 1 completed. We have all 4 wheels on. Wrong way round, as I may have said, as I may have suggested. So these 2 on this side are the front wheels. They should be on the front axle. At least that's what I think. And these are the rear wheels. Oops, it's quite tough. Let me take a look. Yeah, so going by the painting on the box, front wheel, bit sticking out in the middle, rear wheel flatter. So that's how I know I've got it wrong. So there it is. So the wheels are on and they do turn, which is a nice touch. I may need to get this one sanded a bit. I sanded the mold line, the ridge line in the center off the other 3. Forgot to do it on the first one. Just went straight to it, so that's why it looks slightly different. The shock absorbers, there's 10 little things there. I got them in eventually. It was trickier than I expected, but this little, I assume it's a tow hook. That'll be the tow hook for the trailer, is on. There's a big fat just in that differential. There's a big fat hole, which I believe is a sink mark from having quite a large piece of plastic. So should I fill it or should I leave it? I'll decide on that later. I'm just a bit concerned right now that these axles are not straight. As you can see, they're not level, so I may need to bend something there. But it's going to be underneath the vehicle, so I don't think it's going to be visible. And anyway, that's the end of stage 1. Oh, this bumper on. The bumper on the front went on so neatly and perfectly. I didn't feel the need to put to glue it. I did glue it. I just put a couple of dabs of the liquid cement, but it fitted really tightly. It was a good fit. So far, I'm fairly pleased with this thing. Okay, then step 2 is the engine, by the looks of things. So I've got some paint colours there. I'm not gonna. I won't be doing any painting on this thing until I've nearly completed it, unless of course I feel the need to paint everything. But the engine is its own single assembly, so I'll put it all together and then paint it afterwards. So maybe I'll keep them all the assemblies separate and then paint them as I go along. But right now, engine is next. So basically tree number 2, sprue number 2 has all the engine parts. See, it's a bit confusing with these instructions because you have the part numbers, which are, I'm just understanding the part numbers are in the black rectangle, and these other numbers are paint numbers. I haven't actually had a look to see what, is it on here somewhere? What brand of paints they're using these numbers from, so does it actually tell me anywhere what they are? Right, so down here, yes, there is a whole list. So it doesn't tell you what the brands are. It just goes tells you what the colours actually are, which is fine, I guess. I can live with that. So, but so why it says 86 on that one, 33, 53 on the paint pots. Just wondering what manufacturers they're using for those. That's what I wonder. I'll sort that out later. Let's continue. So the engine is going to be a bit a bit tricky to put together because there's no locating pin, so it's basically a case of just putting it together and hoping it fits. But there is a hole in the front, and this drive belt assembly thing fits in that hole, so that's a good start. So if I get that lined up, I think we'll be okay. It's going to be trickier than I expected. Damn, I was hoping not to do that. Right, so there's the engine complete, and I'm not going to do any clever tricks or anything, putting cables or anything like that on it. It's fine as it is. Sanded a bit at the bottom where I got lots of glue on it, but let's keep that between you and me. Little propellers on, a little fan is on, and yeah, so that's stage 2 complete. Let's go into the next phase. May need to do a bit of sanding at the bottom here to level out that gap because it's not good. Okay then, so let us continue with the Jeep. So we've got the chassis there with the wheels, so we're going to start onto, oops, dropping things. We're going to start on step 4, which you can see is putting the bodywork onto the chassis. I've tried some test fitting of the parts here, and I'm not sure they're going to fit properly. So anyway, I know there's something else underneath at the bottom of the tub. It tells you the original manufacturer of this kit. So anyway, let's see what we can do. The trickiest bit I think is going to be attaching the engine, because it shows you underneath that you've got to stick it into there, but it doesn't exactly, it's a bit suspect, so I'll see if I can do it. But basically you need to stick the what is it, the back end of the gearbox to, let me see, the back end of the gearbox to that there, and I think it's supposed to go like that. So I think it's supposed to fit like that, with off the edge. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, let's carry on. I also did some filling of some of the extrusion pin marks with super glue, and I don't think I put enough on there because it's still a bit sloppy, holy. But I'll find the piece. I did this one just a few minutes ago, or rather redid this one. And so I redid this a little while ago. Dabbed the super glue in the holes and then dropped onto there some bicarbonate of soda. Basically it sets hard almost immediately, so just need to sand it down flat. So this goes on the back of the bodywork, so I'll do that before I put it on. But first, I'm going to start by putting the main tub onto the chassis. That round. Okay then, let's go. So here we are. Here's a tiny little piece that goes onto the Jeep. Excuse me. And So when it comes off the sprue, it's just a solid piece there. So what I've done, I've spent the last 10-15 minutes just carefully drilling out that hole using a drill, small drill, larger drill, and then finally carving it out with a knife, just going around, just spinning it around through there. That's drilled it nicely. So I don't know if it's going to make that much difference to the look of it, because the bonnet's going to be down. The engine is not going to be visible, but yeah, it was an interesting thing to do. Anyway, so this goes onto the side there, like so. So let's get that done. Just dab a glue on that onto that. Stay still. So hoping that's straight. Now the only reason I know that it's a hollow object is because I had a look at some engines, some of the Willys Jeep online, and this item was quite visible on all the engines, and it's like I think it's a horn or something like that. It's a big whole thing, either that or it's well, I think it can only be a horn. It's not connected to the main engine in any way, so. But I don't know what it is. If you know what it is, comment below. Anyway, so this goes onto the side of the body as the previous one, and let's get that done now. Again, fitting it all together is trickier than than personally I think it should be, but when you get the back end done, because that's the only bit that is firm, or as you can see, that doesn't fit properly, so I'm going to shave off a bit off this side and maybe a little bit off that part there, and see if I can get it to fit. Okay then, so I think I've completed stage 4, or step 4. I've got everything on there so far. One or two things. This side panel isn't straight, as you can see. It's a bit bent. It should be, well, I'd expect that part of the fender to be straight, parallel with the one on the other side, but it's not. So I spent a bit of time using clamps to hold it together while the glue set.
Or a clamp-like device.
And it's not right, but apart from that, and also, let's get rid of that, this right side didn't go on quite as well as I thought it should, but it is fairly straight on the front end, so yeah. Right, so that's it there then. So I'll continue on to stage 5, or step 5, which is the rest of the bodywork. So step 5, basically the seats, the top part of the body and the internals, and some bits underneath, and that front bit, which is gonna come later because I've just painted, as you can see there, that dark area there. I just painted the radiator, so I'm going to let that dry first before I start putting it together, because that goes right onto that. And it looks like the only thing keeping it online is, well, guesswork really. So I'll see what I can do with that. Also, just thought I'd mention it while I'm here. This sprue number 2 has a figure on it, or like a person here. There's nothing in the instruction to show him being put together, so I guess that's another piece of guesswork as well. So, but the only other bits from this sprue that I'm going to need are the that jerry can thing, fuel can. So it's in 2 halves, so just stick that together, and then I'll leave the gentleman until the end. Okay, then here we go. Okay, so I've gotten this far with the little Jeep, and test fitting the bonnet. This part here was quite tricky to get. I had to do a lot of surgery on the piece underneath there, you can't see it fortunately, to make it fit on the sides there and so on. So a lot of plastic, or quite a bit of plastic, was cut out. I didn't record that, but there you go. So the bonnet fits on like so. That's a fairly good fit. It's not the best fit, but it fits. And then you got the radiator and grill, which I believe is supposed to fit on that bar there, except it doesn't quite fit properly, because when you get it in there it appears to fit, but when you drop the bonnet on top it sticks a bit forward. So yeah, so it looks like it's gonna need a bit more surgery on this thing. So it looks like this part here is, let's get closer in. So it looks like this part here is going to need a little bit of shaving to get it in, because it's not touching the same part on the other side. So even though it looks like it is, actually it is, because this piece sticks out in rather. So this piece is going to have to, well, be cut away a little bit. So I wonder if I can still move it apart. So as I say, it's not very good fitting. A bit more surgery required. So I was hoping this would be a nice quiet build after the last thing I built, the Falco, but it's proving to be a bit more challenging, mainly because it doesn't fit well. So anyway, I shall continue and see what I can do. Mainly shave this side a bit, and maybe that as well, move that big. If I can, I'll try and move it out a bit, but it may mean breaking something. Anyway, onwards. And I think I managed to mangle the fit, so or to get it fitted in. So I'm going to glue it down. The engine's not going to be visible anymore. Not that it's that exciting an engine, but yeah. So anyway, yeah. So it just required a bit of finessing on this side. So I may have pulled it across to allow this to fit in there, to allow the radiator grille to fit just on that side there. The headlights aren't in yet, so that can wait until later. So I'll just, yeah, it's not. Anyway, yeah. Drop the bonnet in. And it's time for some glue. It doesn't look great, but it'll do. I'm also fairly certain that, like on this side, this bonnet lid is supposed to touch the fender there, but it doesn't. Nice big gap. So yeah, not the best fitting kit. Anyway, so there we are. There we are so far. Still a few more bits. There's the windscreen to fit, and don't know if you can see, but this arm is not, well, it doesn't fit properly because this isn't bent enough. So the case of either glue it in all together or apply a little bit of heat on this arm here to probably bend it a bit more. yeah. There's also the windscreen to put in, so but that can wait. I'm just deciding, you know, should I paint it or should I just leave it? I suppose I could paint it, I guess. So I think I'll glue the windscreen. Oh, I don't have to glue it in, I guess. I can leave it as it is for the time being. I'll have a go. I'll see if I can bend this out a bit more, just to bend it in to see if I can get it to fit. If not, then I'll just glue it all in. So stay tuned for that little fun and exciting thing. Okay then, so stage 5 is complete, or nearly complete. There's still the windscreen to add, as I mentioned before, and I'm going to have a go at bending this in to see if I make it fit, and if it won't, then I'll just glue it all on. But everything else so far is gone on. You can see in there there's the little control levers, the gear stick and so on, steering wheel, steering column, wheels, everything underneath. The looks fairly busy down here. This part doesn't fit because it's bent wrong, and but you know, it's underneath there, so you're not going to see it, I hope. Well, you're not going to see it because it's never going to leave my my home, so you can still see the branding of the original manufacturer down there. And I decided just to leave it because I couldn't be bothered scraping it out. So far it's been tricky. The fender here was annoying to me, and getting the steering column was trickier than I expected, but dropped it in there. All this dark grey black stuff, that's the glue, but you know that already, so that'll be gone when I paint it over. What else? Well, that's it really. The seats didn't. The seats were fairly tricky as well. These parts of the seats there were bent out of shape slightly, but holding them down while the glue was in allowed them to stay put. I did notice in looking at the manual, the instructions, that I did miss one piece. This little piece here in the engine, which sticks onto the top of the engine and on the radiator, so I assume it's something to do with the cooling system. I didn't put that in, but then the engine is totally invisible now. Even if you look underneath, you can see the bottom of the engine, the sump, but you can't see anything else, so it's not going to make any difference to the kit. So yeah, so next stage, well, step would be step 6, which is putting some bits around the back, and step 7, well, step 6, so you've got two choices with step 6, putting some bits on around the back and sides, or putting the roof on. So I shall see what to do next. So yeah, right, so we're nearly done. I shall see you. I think the next video will be the conclusion to this little kit, this little Jeep, so look out for that. I'm going to leave it there for now. See you next time. Bit of an addendum. So I've put the windscreen on, and to bend this part in, this arm in, it's still not perfect, but I took one of these and just very carefully, very gently applied a bit of heat to that bend there. Bend it over, let it cool, and that's where we are now. So it opens and closes. Prefer to stay open. As you can see, it's not perfectly bent in the right place, so I'll carefully have another go with it.
Clamps!